Hello everybody and welcome back. Are you ready for a new challenge? I have teamed up with the wonderful Sophie from Sophie's Crafty Corner again. Last time in our challenges we were exploring different binding techniques and different beautiful ways that you can bind your books. This time we've got together and we are going back to basics and we are doing Journal Making 101. So this is absolutely perfect for beginners. So if you are new to the junk journaling community and you want to know how to put a book together, how to decorate it and all of those things, then this will be the challenge for you. This is going to be running for the next 5 weeks. Sophie and I will be breaking it down step by step. We're also going to be keeping our videos a little bit shorter, so between 20 and 30 minutes. That way it's just nice, easy, bite-sized chunks. If you have been making journals for a while, you still may be interested because obviously I think it's nice to have that reminder to go back to basics sometimes because you just forget about some of the ideas that you did when you first started making journals. So there are many ways that you can make books. Some people have what we would call a traditional junk journal, where it is only made from junk, things that would be otherwise thrown away. So whether that's packaging, wrappers, receipts, tickets, all that kind of thing. I like to have a bit of a mix, so quite often I will have things that I am recycling, so old envelopes. I do sometimes use some packaging, and I do like to use old papers from different books and things. But I do like to mix in some new things as well. So I do like to use scrapbook papers. I do used to like printed papers and other things like that. So I like to mix it up in my journals. You can also, when you are making the cover, sometimes I do like to use a cereal box or some other card and then I kind of cover it. When I was going through my stash trying to find some papers to include in this journal for this series, I came across a few of these books. Now I picked, I think I've got about 5 of these and I picked them up in a charity shop and they're only like 50 pence each. And I know in America you have like little golden books. I think it's a similar kind of concept. And I've got this one and I thought, oh, do you know what? I think I'm going to use this as my kind of base of my book and then I'm going to build on that. So this was in pretty bad shape, this one. The spine was all cracked down the side and some of the pages were falling out. So I have already chopped off the spine. And I did already start preparing it because, as I said, I've got a few of these, so I was intending on doing this anyway. So part of it has already been prepared, but I'll show you what I've done in just a second. But I'm going to be using this as the base, so I am going to reuse the cover. But when we get to the video where I talk about the cover, I will talk to you about alternatives, just in case you obviously don't have a book that you're ready to use. So today's video we're talking about signatures and just getting papers ready for a signature and thinking about paper sizes, paper textures, that kind of a thing. If you are totally new to making books and making journals, a signature is basically a collection of papers that are bound together. So if I was, for example, going to grab these 3, I would put them inside one another. And then if I was to bind this into a book, this would be one signature. If I was then to grab these papers and do the same, so pop those inside each other, this would then become my second signature once it's bound in. So that's all a signature is. It's just a collection of papers that are bound together in a book. Now there are lots of different ways that you can bind your papers into a book. Again, that will come up in a future video. Today we're just going to be talking about the papers. Right, so the great thing about junk journals is that you can use pretty much anything. Now, as somebody who has been making books for a little while, I do have some kind of tips and suggestions. The number of signatures that you have really depends on the amount that you are putting into your journal. So originally, when I was thinking about the book I'm making today, or throughout this series, was to have 3 signatures. However, I got very excited when I was gathering my papers, as you can see, and I've got lots of different types. So it may be that my signatures become too thick, and if they become too thick, by the time I then start adding the pockets and the ephemera and the tags and all that kind of stuff, it's going to be really stuffed full. And I know that there are lots of people out there that really love what's considered a gator mouth, and that's when let's just gather these and put them inside this cover. So a gator mouth is when the book doesn't sit closed. It will be kind of open like this and it won't close properly. I personally do not like that. I like my book to sit closed, which is another reason why I start with my signatures and why this is the first video in these series. So when I was hashing this out with Sophie, she was like, oh, so we're going to do the cover first, and then we started like listing what else we were going to do, and I was like, I said, I personally like to do my signatures first, so then I can build my cover to fit my signatures. So yeah, so that is something to consider. Now, as I said, it also depends on the things that you put inside. So I've got a range of different papers here, and I just want to show you what I've got first. So envelopes, as I said, I do love to use envelopes. These came from, I think, some kind of D-stash. Somebody was getting rid of a load of different card sets, so you had a set of cards and a set of envelopes. I did pick these up really, really cheaply, but you can buy really cheap envelopes. Or, like I said, quite often I've still got a drawer full of old birthday card envelopes as well. You can use those. You don't have to use anything new. But like I said, these just came from an old cards making set. So I've got these envelopes. I'm going to use these in my journal. These were A5 size. It was a disc-bound journaling page. I don't use a disc-bound planner anymore, so I had a few spare of these pages, so I'm just going to use these in there. Again, just adds a little bit of fun. I quite like these. You could obviously chop these off if this would annoy you, having the punched holes at the top. I quite like that. Adds a little bit of texture and interest into my journal, so I will keep that. And because obviously you've got your boxes, you've got areas to be writing in as well. You may decide to draw a picture or paint a picture or stick some washi tape or some other stickers in one of the boxes and decorate around. You can really kind of play around with this. So I've got that as well. This is quite a nice quality paper as well. I would say probably slightly thicker than standard copier paper, but not like a thick card or anything. So I've got that. I've then got 3 sets of different stained papers. So this one was, well, believe it or not, it was a red cabbage, although it does come out a kind of bluish green colour with a hint of purple. So I've got 3 of these I'm going to use, because like I said, at the moment I'm intending to have 3 signatures. I might have to change that yet, I'm not sure. So I've got 3 of those. So there's that stained, and this is just on normal copier paper that I have just dyed myself. I've then got some tea stained paper, but this one only has like a border. It has a white bit in the middle, and that's on all 3 of those. And then I've got some that are completely covered, again tea stained, but this is just a light tea stain on this one. But I've got 3 of those. I then decided to have a little rummage through my scrapbooking paper. This, however, is quite thick. This is more of a cardstock. I think these are 230 GSM. So these are quite stiff. However, these are great if you're going to be hanging things off them. So if you are having pockets that are going to be full, or if you're going to be pinning lots of things on the edge of the pages, they're obviously quite sturdy, so they'll be able to stand up to any weight that you put on these pages. So I went for designs that I thought would go well with obviously the Pinocchio book. So I've got some stars here because obviously he wishes on a star and the fairy comes down. I've got blue because again it goes a bit with the cover because that's blue, so I've got that one. I know the pink doesn't really go, but again I've got blue on the inside. And then this one again, it's got a blue, but it's also again got some stars on the inside as well. So I've trimmed those down. I do recommend, because these were 12 by 12, any scraps. So I've got the bits that I cut off the bottom. I've saved those, and I'm going to keep those because these will make great tags, which will obviously come up in another video. So I've got that. I've got this, which is another planner page. This one's obviously for not a disc bound, but a ring bound journal. This is the Carpe Diem page. Again, this is a lovely quality paper. It's again thicker than copy of paper, but again not a cardstock. I've only got one of these because on my signatures I've got an odd amount of pages. So for when I was kind of pairing these up, I've used them at the back to kind of form the second page. So I've done that on these. So I've only got one because two of those signatures has one of these attached to the page. Also really fun, I have pulled out some old paper bags. So this one was from a set that I got absolutely ages ago. I've had this for years. But again, it was just a fun one. I think it is a party themed, but I thought it was just a fun kid one. And then I've got these two, which obviously have the purple stripes. I'm going to use those. And I've got a paper doily, which I do realise is too tall. We'll either fold those up or trim them off. We can decide that when we start putting things together. So they're all of the extra pages that I have. And then just to show you what I've done, if you want to kind of repurpose a book as well. Now, I'm not sure how it is with the little golden books. We don't really get them here in the UK. But when I see people dismantling them, when I've watched US crafters do them, they tend to be attached as a page. So let me show you. So they're attached like this. My one were glued in, and they were single pages. So I have just used some washi tape, but before I stuck the washi tape on, so on this, oh actually that's not a good example, sorry. So on this side I just used washi tape down the middle. However, on this side, because washi tape isn't particularly strong, obviously it does tear easy, it's not supposed to be a permanent tape, I put a strip of white paper down the spine just to reinforce it, and then I've gone over with my washi tape again on this side. So I've got washi tape on both sides, but one side will also have a piece of paper just to reinforce, so that when I'm sewing in the signature, if I poke a hole in the washi tape, it could potentially tear, because there is nothing else, or there would have been nothing else along this spine part. So I've put a piece of paper on, and then I've just covered it with washi. And I chose this one. I think this one's from Oops a Daisy, which is a kind of UK planner company. But I just thought it was fun, it was colourful, and it kind of went with the children's book. So that's what I've done with this one, and I've done that for each and every page. So I've reinforced with a paper strip, and then I've put my washi tape, and I've done that for every single page because, like I said, I want to make sure that these are secure. Yeah, so I've got that one, and this one I've had to put one of the Carpe Diem journal pages on the back. I did realise after that I've stuck it in upside down, but I'm not going to worry about that. And then this one, I think I had an even amount of pages, so they're all the book pages. And then this last one I had the same thing, so it was an odd. So I've got the back page attached to the other Carpe Diem, which I did put up the right way this time. And again, I've done exactly the same thing on all of the pages, so washi tape down the middle. So they're my three signatures. Now, like I said, I don't want it too chunky because I don't want it being too bulky. So it may be that I either do more signatures or I take things out. But we will see when we kind of start putting it together, because with the washi tape and things, this spine already feels quite thick. So it may be that I do have more signatures, because obviously if I've got this thickness already, and then I'm going to be adding all of this and these, you can see how it's already going to get quite full very, very quickly. So just a few things to consider if you are starting out and making your own book. So I think I'm going to start just by putting the papers together in the signature, and then we can decide whether that's too thick or whether perhaps things need to be taken out, rearranged, or more signatures put in. So as you may have noticed when I was going through, I have got 3 of each. You don't have to be all samey. You can have different things in your signatures. I do like to keep it samey. I may mix up the order within each of the signatures. That one's going to go in the middle. But yeah, it's all down to your personal preference and how you want to do things. Yeah, that's fine. So I want one of each of these. Each of those, and then I've got the doily as well. So how many pages have I got? So I've got enough space for 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's start with the first signature. So I'm just going to get rid of these for a second, just so we haven't got too much on the table overwhelming us. So let's start with the first signature. Now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 things to include in. So 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So if I had all of those things in, I would have an 11 sheet signature. Now for me, or actually 12, because I'd have the doily as well. Now I know the doily's thin, but for me that's quite a large signature. I tend to have between 5 and 8 pages within my signature, so I'm already thinking that it's going to be too big. So how many pages did I say? I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So what I might do is pick 4 pieces. Let's have a look. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, actually, that could be. So I'm trying to think. I'm going to have 4 pieces inside here, and then I think I am going to have extra signatures. So I might make mine a 5 signature. I like to have odd numbers. I don't know why, but I like to have an odd number, 5 signatures. It makes it easy with binding, which I'll go through when we actually do the binding. So I think I might have 5 signatures then. Yeah. So I think I'm going to have this separate. And let's have a think. I think I might, because the colour's quite the same, I might have that in there. I might have that one out here. I might have that one out, that one in there, those 2 in there, and then the doily in the separate signature. So 1, 2, 3, 4, but then obviously I'll have pages from the other one as well. Right, let's start putting this together then, see how this looks. So I want to start with this only because when you've got the cover and you open it up, you can see that this belonged together. So I do want this to be my first page. So I'm not going to change that. But obviously everything else we can then have a little play around with. So I may decide that I tuck my envelope in here. And if I position it right, so maybe like that, so it's not cutting into either the title or the picture. I mean, it doesn't matter if you do cover it up, but I could make this into a little tuck spot and I could have something tucked inside there. So I'm going to have my envelope there. Then my next page, I might have, yeah, maybe this one. That can go in there. Then in this one, I'm going to this. And then in the middle, see, I was going to have this, but I think I might actually go for the doily. Now, do I want to trim it or do I want to fold it up? I think I might just fold it up. So I'm going to pull it down slightly. And then I'm just going to carefully create a fold. And then obviously fold it in half. Like so. So I might have that in the middle. Okay. Now don't worry if you put these together. So at the moment this does feel quite thin, and you might be thinking, actually 8 pages doesn't seem enough. Maybe I am going to stuff it full with some more. But don't forget, we haven't got anything in these, it's just the pages. So like I said, once you start adding all of your pockets and things like that, this will become very full very quickly. So I recommend around 8 pages. So that's what we've got in this one. So I'm going to put that one to the side. Obviously these are my spare bits. I'm going to keep those to the side for a minute, and then I'm going to pull in my second signature, which is this one. So again, I think I've got 4 pages. I'm going to check. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, so I've got 4 double pages. Right, so I've already... Oh, actually, no, it doesn't matter, does it? Yeah, I think I'm going to have the blue one in here. I'm going to change it around a little bit. So the things I've got out, I'm going to put in. So I've got that one as a spare. What have we got here? 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to put those in. These can stay out, I think. Now, when these signatures are bound together, because I've got the lined paper here, if I had a picture here, so if it ended on this, then I possibly would have put one of these pieces of paper around this signature. But because I've got the lined paper, I'm going to keep this as the first page. So I'm going to come in, I'm going to have my tea-stained paper first. And then I think I'm going to have my paper bag, so I'm just going to fold that in half. And pop that in. And my next signature, I think, is going to be, yeah, my big one, big blue, which I can't open. And then the final one can be this in the middle, like so. Okay, so that's my second signature. Right, third signature. Oh, we can have one of those in there. Forgot about those. So the final signature. So now I am going to have my doily in again. This one I think I'll fold as well. So I'm just going to fold up the bottom. And whoops, bring it over so it's folded in the centre, like so. And this one, this time, I think is going to go here. I might keep this blue one out. I'm going to have this inside. And I'm going to have this small piece. I might have the envelope in this one. So I'm going to have the envelope. So when I sew it in, I'll open this up and it will get sewn in like this. So that way you can still close it if you wish to. So that's how I'm going to do that one. Okay, so they're my 3 signatures. Now you can see with all of those papers in how thick this is getting already. Okay, like I said, it's not going to be massive yet because we haven't got all of the other bits and pieces in, but you can see that this is already starting to get a little bit sort of bouncy and chunky. Now, like I said, I've got all of these papers still left, so I'm going to make 2 more signatures to kind of go in between these ones. So let's have a look at what we've got. So we've got 2 of these scrapbooking cards, so they're going to be on the outside. I've got 2 of these tea stained, so that can go in each. I've got 2 of these. Oh, this is working out quite nicely. I've got 2 of these. I've got 2 paper bags. And then I've got an odd amount of things. So I have got a doily. I might get rid of that one then. I'll have an envelope in one and I'll have that in the other. So let's just pop these together. So because we've got blue, I don't want blue straight away. So I'm going to pop this one in. Then going to pop in my envelope if I can open it up. Oh, actually the envelope contrasts better with the blue, so I'm going to have this guy in here. So let's have him. Let's have the blue, the envelope, and this one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So these obviously aren't going to be quite as chunky as the other signatures, but that's fine. Let's just double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we've got that one. Again, I've got blue in here, so I'm going to start with a different coloured paper. Maybe I'll have my paper bag here. I might have this one here. And then my blue. And then this one in the middle. So that's going to be my other signature. And then all I'm going to do is pop those in between. So I've got first signature, second signature, third, fourth, and fifth. Now, if I put these together, you can see how chunky this is getting, and we've got nothing in here yet. It is just purely paper. So that's how I would put my signatures together. As I said, you can use whatever papers it is that you like. I'm just repurposing this book because I've got a few of them and I really wanted to use them. As I said, this is going to be a weekly video. So every Tuesday, Sophie and I are going to put out a different video. We are trying to chunk it down, do it in bite-sized pieces. So today we've just looked at papers, just looked at the signatures, but we will be back next week for the next part. Please make sure that you go and check out Sophie's video. She will be doing her journal possibly different to mine. I think she is using digitals. I was debating using digitals, but then like I said, I've got lots of these books, so I thought this would be probably a great opportunity to use them. I really hope that you have found this video useful, especially if you are a beginner. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to drop them down below in the comments and I will respond to those as soon as I can. If you have enjoyed this video, I'd really appreciate a thumbs up. It really helps out my channel. Please consider subscribing if you are not already a subscriber here, and make sure that you click that bell button. That way you'll be notified of any new crafty videos coming up. I will create a playlist for this series as well, and I will include Sophie's in those. So if you ever want to do a catch-up, there will be a playlist available. Thank you so much for watching today. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you all in the next crafty video. Bye for now.